Hello, my name is Joy Barr, and I work in the Office of Assessment and Accountability. Today's presentation is entitled Getting Started. It is one part of our back-to-school trainings for fall 2017. We will be looking at different parts of the training as for those who are a new DAC as well as a veteran DAC. The first slide that I want you to see is entitled Access to Systems. And what this is a quick guide to web-based applications. This is a handout which we will provide to you. It is mainly for a new DAC as well as the experienced DAC or a veteran DAC. It is a handy resource for you to use. It is a guide that tells you all of the applications that we have available to you, their passwords, how to access those, the primary person to contact if you have questions about them. So this handout is good for both the new as well as the experienced DAC. There are many resources available to you to use as you begin the new school year. And again, this is appropriate for both the new DAC as well as the experienced DAC. The first item on this resource list is the Monday DAC email. This is probably your most valuable, most important resource. Let's take a look at that and then we'll come back to this slide. This is just a snapshot of the Monday DAC email so that you can remember it if you haven't already signed up for the Monday DAC email. If you, as a new DAC, have not received this or are not on the Monday DAC email list, then you need to get with your WAPOC, your technology coordinator in your district, and they will get you signed up to what's called People Manager. And that will make you the primary DAC in the district so that you will have access to this. And this again comes out every Monday unless it's a holiday or something. And then throughout the week we may periodically send an email that's similar to this called the Special DAC email. This is your resource. It has important dates, anything that is coming up for the DAC that they need to be aware of. One thing that we suggest is that you, as the district assessment coordinator, share that with your folks in your district, the BACs or your test administrators. You can share the entire email. It's available on the website on Tuesday after the following Monday. But you may want to cut and paste and only send certain parts to your building level people or your school level people, whichever person is appropriate to receive that. Let's go back. And the second resource is the electronic DAC calendar. Another helpful resource to you, especially with all of the important dates that you need to keep up with and in planning and in preparation for a new school year and with all of the assessments and accountability that we have to keep up with. Again, to find that electronic DAC calendar, on the Monday DAC email, on the front page, it's always in the same place. You will see the assessment calendar, and you can see that up there on the right-hand page on this slide. If you click on Assessment Calendar, it takes you to a calendar. And it is also found on the DAC info page. This is a month at a glance, and you can see up there, this particular one is July 2017. You can scroll out several months so that you can see important deadlines that are available to you as a DAC. Again, you can print this, use it in any way that is helpful to you in the district. Monthly DAC webcasts occur. These are always on the second Thursday of the month, another resource to you for helpful and current information. The KDE website is another resource that has lots of materials, PowerPoints, trainings, forms, all of these available to you under the Assessment and Accountability page. Recording trainings, and presentations, such as this one that you're listening to now, are available to you about any assessment that is ongoing, that anything new. We may do a training on that for you to use and take back to your folks in the school. Test administration manuals. These come either paper or electronic for every test that is administered. You want your people to be familiar with these. Read them, because each test vendor has different information that you need to be aware of so that you can be prepared for a successful test administration. Lastly, on this slide is a helpful assessment and accountability contacts. This is a handout that will be available to you to use as well. You can print it, tape it up in your offices so that you can have telephone numbers, access to links, all of this so that you know who to call when you have a question. Now let's turn our attention to some important dates that we want you to be aware of. The ACT. These are the dates for when the administration will be held in 2018. More information about the ACT will be in the high school presentation of our back to school training, but we wanted you to make sure that you had these dates on your calendar. March the 20th is the initial test administration for the ACT, for the test that's given to all juniors in the state of Kentucky. The accommodation window there from March the 20th to April the 3rd is when any student that requires accommodations can take the ACT as well. And then we have a makeup date of April the 24th for those that did not take the ACT on the initial test date. Online testing is available to districts that are interested, and those dates will be provided to you in the high school presentation of the back to school training. K-Prep, also some important dates for you. Let's look at the second slide on the second column rather, on this slide. The 2017 information with K-Prep. This is when your test scores come from the past spring. Data review is scheduled to begin tentatively Monday, August the 14th. This will be when you receive spreadsheets as a DAC and to begin some preliminary look at your scores for the schools and districts. You'll get spreadsheets and you can look to make sure that all of your data appears to be correct, and you will make those corrections in SDRR, our Student Data Review and Rosters application. Quality Control Day, it's an online day of training, is scheduled tentatively for September the 13th. And then we have the regulatory data review period after that. The individual student reports that come with your students' individual test scores from 2017 spring testing are scheduled to be shipped to schools and districts on October the 5th. On the left-hand side, the left-hand column, it says 2018. Pearson Access Next opens in January. Now, that immediately will send a red flag to some of you, because we know with K-Prep, you're used to using Pearson Access, not Pearson Access Next. Pearson Access Next is what you as the DAC have been using for the ACT testing. After data review, at the end of October or early November, Pearson will be transferring Pearson Access information into Pearson Access Next. We will have trainings on this so that you will be familiar with how to use this application, and no need to worry about that right now. But Pearson Access Next will be how you access your information for K-Prep in 2018. And when that opens in January, you will be able to do similar things to what you have done in the past within the Pearson application. You will select your shipping option. You will make sure that you have the right number of schools, make sure the addresses are correct. You can order accommodated test materials. You want to see if you have the correct number of students in those classes. So all of the same types of things, but you will be doing this in Pearson Access Next. Again, another slide about the individual student reports coming to the districts by October the 5th. You get 2 copies of each of these. One is maintained at the school in the student's individual file, and one is sent home for parents to see. These reports are also available to you on Pearson Access, and that's where you will locate those even in 2018. This is really not important dates, but it's important information for you to be aware of, and to it's important for you to know as for getting started this year. Our Kentucky's science assessment system that we started last year is continuing in 2017-18. It is made up of 3 components: the classroom embedded assessments, statewide summative assessments, and through course tasks as well. The classroom embedded assessments are what occur in the classroom at all grades. It is a formative process where you use instruction and making sure that you are following the Kentucky academic standards. So that stays in place and is the same. The statewide summative assessment for science, you will recall that in 2017 in the spring we had a field test at grades 4, 7, and 11 using the new science standards. At 4 and 7 in 2017-18, the grades 4 and 7 will have the science test as a part of K-Prep. Now, decisions have not been made yet as to if that will be a part of the K-Prep test booklet or if it will be a separate test booklet. But you will be testing your students in science at grades 4 and 7. In the spring of 2017, we had the field test at grade 11 at the high school level. For 2017-18, this was changed a little bit. We are looking at developing that test into an end-of-course assessment, and it will be the biology end-of-course assessment. But those same type of questions will be used for the high school assessment and in biology end-of-course. Through course tasks. Another piece of the science assessment system is really an instructional component and not assessment related. You will work with your instructional supervisors in the district to make sure that the through course tasks are completed, but it is not a summative or classroom embedded assessment. All teachers of science must use at least 2 of the through course tasks, and then submit 1 piece of student work for 2 of the tasks at each grade level. And as usual, if you have any questions about the through course tasks, you need to contact Mindy Curlis, who works in our Office of Teaching and Learning, and you see her email address and telephone number there on the screen. Test security, always an important topic for us in the Office of Assessment and Accountability. We ask that you always maintain the tightest of security with any of our test materials. We have checks and processes in place that monitor the administration of any of our state-required assessments. Everyone that has the potential to work with a state-required assessment is required to take the administration code and the inclusion of special populations training. And it's recommended that these trainings are given in the fall because we do have fall assessments, but they are required for annual training. It's a good idea maybe to give those when you're having some of your professional development before school begins, and so that all staff can have these trainings. Many districts do both of these regulations, administration code and the inclusion of special populations, at the same time, but you can do them separately. It's up to you in the district. And it is important that you do more than just hand out the regulations and ask the teachers and staff to sign that they have received the administration code and inclusion of special populations. We want you to have some dedicated time to go over that training as a refresher. Things always are changing, and you want to make sure that you have all of your people trained properly. Some of the other things that we do to check for good test security, we ask that seating charts be completed anytime a class is administering a test, so that you have a record of who is testing as well as the students that are testing in the classroom. Non-disclosure forms are another form of testing, test security. We at KDE come out and visit schools periodically throughout the school year to see what is going on, and we check to make sure that you do have those seating charts and all of your test materials are maintained in a secure manner. Here again is the regulation that goes along with the administration code training. And again, as we've said, all persons involved, even if you're carrying a tote from your secure room to a classroom, if you're handling those test booklets, then that person needs to have had administration code training. Resources are available to you to use with that training. So that you're not doing what I mentioned earlier and just handing out the regulation. You want to sit down and have training with your folks so that they are aware of what is current and what is going on. Again, the inclusion of special populations for those who are assisting with the accommodated students, and so that you're familiar with those accommodations that are available to the students, and those again vary by assessment. So it's important that you keep up to date so that you will be prepared when testing occurs. How do we document some of that test security? Seating charts. This form, we have a large group seating chart as well as a small group and individual seating charts. These are templates. These are just resources available to you. You can make your own. We just ask that you have some type of a record of everyone that was testing, as well as the person that was administering the test, a record of who was in the room at that particular time. Non-participation forms are also important for you to maintain at the school or district level. This particular one is when a student is unable to participate in any of our state required assessments. You do have paper forms. Those are available to you on the website, and you will fill those out. You keep that paper copy and any documenting information, doctors' resources, anything that they have, statements that they may make, you want to keep those there in the school and district. But you make your actual request for the medical non-participation again in SDRR. Keep the paper copies in the school or district, but you make your request for that non-participation in SDRR. Another type of non-participation form is the extraordinary circumstance, and it is just like the title says. If something unusual happens in your school during testing where a student is unable to complete the test, then you may need to request this extraordinary non-participation. Again, it is the same as the medical. You want to keep any documenting information with that paper form in the school or district. Make that request in SDRR to make sure that it is approved. Now, as we all know, sometimes things happen. Life occurs in during the school year. Sometimes you may have a student break an arm, break their eyeglasses, something like that, where it is a medical emergency. The student themselves can continue with testing, but they may need a little assistance. They may need a scribe, or they may need a reader or something of that sort. This form you need to fill out. Should that occur to one of the students in your schools, just keep that information there in the school or district. There's no electronic approval process. This is just something that you need to keep a record of in your schools. Occasionally, there will be instances when staff, or maybe even someone outside of our schools, need to see student information, and they need to complete a non-disclosure form. That this means they will not share that student information with anyone. And these forms are available to you on the website that you can print out. You can keep those paper copies. You can keep them electronically. It's just a record for you of proof that someone has accessed that student information. It's a protection for you. It's a protection for us at the department that we are maintaining test security at its highest level. Occasionally, an allegation may occur during testing or any time during the year. And these are unfortunate situations, but they do happen. They happen to all of us. We're human. And should an allegation occur, there is a process in which you go through to make sure that that allegation is processed properly. The lady that you work with, her name is Patsy Kenner. She works here at the department, and she is called our allegations coordinator. And she does, anytime an allegation is submitted, she does check those. There are, as you are not surprised, there are a large number of allegations that are submitted, and she does look at each one of these. Some of them are minor and really do not require any further information. Some of them may require quite a bit of processing. And because of the quantity of these allegations, it sometimes takes a little while for her to get to that. So it's important that you, as the person who has reported or is the keeper of that in the district, that you get all of that information around that allegation or proposed allegation. You want to get those facts straight, all of the data that is required around that, when it happened, who was involved, interview people, make sure that you have all of the information around that allegation correct and documented. The allegation form is available on the website, so anytime that someone wants to ask about an allegation, then you need to fill out this particular form, and you want to keep all of the information around that allegation in a folder until it is resolved. And it may even involve a test schedule. It may involve that seating chart that we talked about a little bit earlier. Anything that you can use to document that allegation that you need to keep in a file until it is resolved. And again, here is more information about what is on that allegation website for how to fill out all of the proper forms. Here is a list of the people in the Division of Assessment Support. That these are names of people that you can contact at any time about any of our assessments in the Office of Assessment and Accountability. Our telephone number and an email address where you can contact each of us. And again, I want to encourage you to call, email, and any time that you have a question, and I wish the best for all of you as you start the 2017-18 school year. And this completes the getting started portion of our back to school training. And you can look to the media portal for further presentations on the back to school training.